I'm back at the watering hole, the fishing hole. I'm going to attempt again to use, oh, look at that little butterfly, or moth, whatever it is. It's a butterfly. I'm going to attempt using my the fishing poles that I made, or fishing pole that I made, to catch a fish with a different hook. I made a second pole with a thinner line. You know, see, it's thinner than that first one I made. I'm going to see how well that'll hold up. It's made from a little bit different fiber than this. It's still from the cattail plant, but it's a different piece of that, and I'll explain that in another video. But it's 9:30 this morning. I thought I was going to beat the heat, but I'm already sweating. And even though we had a cooler weather roll through the last 2 days, today is not going to be that way. So I'm going to get set up here, and we're going to see what we can catch. Hopefully we can catch something. I've got, let me see. The hook that I'm going to be using today is called, I think it's called a gouge hook. It's basically a piece of wood with pointed sides on each, or pointed on each end. That's still, I think, a little big for the size fish that are in this little hole. But I'm going to give it a try and see what it'll do. We'll do that. And if I don't have luck with that, I thought I might, just for the sake of testing out the strength of this pole and line, I may just go ahead and put a brim hook on it. A man-made brim hook, and see if that'll catch a fish. But we'll try this first. Get me a worm on here. I dug up some worms. I guess they're all going to be hiding out in the bottom, huh? I also picked up some, we've got army worms that are rolling through our yard right now. They do that every year. They come through like millions of them. And they're all in the grass, and they're gross, because if you go out barefoot, you feel them popping under your feet as you step on their little bodies. It's just gross. And if you wear like an open toe shoe or anything that's open, they end up, as you're going across the grass, they end up getting between your foot and your shoe, and then you have this gummy guts, worm guts. It's just gross. And I went and found some of those because I thought I might try that on a brim hook. Anyway, I'm going to use a worm on this gouge hook if I can get it on there. It's pretty wiggly. Ooh, I know I hurt you. You know, I know worms they're beneficial and they're great for fishing. But man, every time I stab one, I hate how I can just feel that they're in pain because they jerk. I hate that feeling. I don't know if this isn't a very fat worm. It's going to be hard to get him and her. Since they carry both reproductive parts, they're both. Get it to stay on. I'm going to do my best. It's tearing though. Maybe I can do this. I don't want to use too much worm because I don't actually have a whole lot. This is just not going to stay on there. I'm so sorry, little worm. Gosh, that smells like peanut butter. Oh gosh, that was gross. When I squished that worm on there. I might should have used something smaller like a toothpick, or whittled it down to a toothpick. I'm going to lose that worm, I bet. First go. I'm going to give it a try. My weight is still on here, but it keeps wanting to slip out because this line is dry. Last time I was able to tie it pretty tight when it was wet. I may have to dip it down in there and then and then tighten it up. And this thing had grown up a good bit since last time. I had to whack some of this grass back. It looks all right. I had said I was going to try to put a float on it, and I forgot. And wouldn't you know it, I don't have my worm. This is going to be the theme, I'm afraid, with this hook. There's no worm. It's going to stay on it. Unless I find a really fat one. But none of the ones I found this morning were very big or very big around. They weren't robust like those big old worms you buy at the bait shop. Let me just get them down and see what I got here. That one's a little fatter, maybe. Not really. Wiggly, terribly wiggly. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh, broken half. Basically, this hook is supposed to like go in their mouth and wedge, but I really do think it's too wide, you know, too big for the particular fish here. Now, this may be great in any other scenario, but not for these fish. These are pretty tiny. I'm gonna give this a try. When I lose this worm, I think I'm going to switch over to a brim hook and see what I can do with that. Because I really want to check the. I mean, obviously I've got to figure out this hook situation, but I really want to know how well the pole is going to withstand pulling a fish in. All right, let's try it again. He's barely hanging on. I'm gonna lose that quick. Something took it. You're hungry this morning. Alright. Since this one's, I've not tried the one with the smaller line on it, I'm gonna get this rigged up with a brim hook on it, hopefully, and see how strong this line is. This is very thin. Like I said, that's made from the cattail as well. It's just from a different part of it. It's down lower. It's some creamy colored fibers. They're on the lower part of the stalk. Alright, I'll bring you back when I get the hook on. Alright, I ended up, I'm going to use the pole that has the lighter line on it. I'm glad I did, because these eyes on these things are pretty small. In fact, I couldn't even work with the eye on this brim hook. It was so small, I couldn't get anything through that at all. So I ended up having to put a swivel on there. I was able to run it through there and then just kind of loop back around the swivel hook and then put my brim hook on there. Now the only thing about this is I don't have a weight on it. I guess I better find something. I hadn't even thought about that. I don't have any. Well, I've got a split weight, but it's massive. The only one I've got that's about the right weight is it's one of these little sinker things. I'm going to try to figure out how to get that on here without taking this stuff back off. I think I can just do this. Oh no, don't do that. I think I can just do it like that and it should be on there. It's not ideal. It's not what I was hoping for, but it's a weight. It may be bothersome to that fish though down there. I don't like that at all. Well, I end up tangling it up trying to get that off of there, so I'm just going to leave it. Just going to sit down there close, and I guess that's okay. That's better, actually. The way when I had it up there, the way it was dangling. That'll work. That piece of worm still wiggling. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that tail hanging off to say, come here, fishy. Look how tasty I look. Alright, let's see what we can catch with this pole. I have high hopes. Hook the limb. There it is. Yay! There's one fish. See how tiny their little mouths are? This is what I was having trouble with and why I couldn't use those other hooks, because they're just too tiny for the type hooks I was using or could make with my hands, you know, or whittle. I never did. I said I was going to try bone, and I never did do that. I might try that sometime. And I also thought about a thorn, but I don't know about that. That's not going to have a barb on it. So anyway, that's a fish. There's one. I mean, if I was hungry, I could get a little meat off of that. Let's go back. And I still have a tiny piece of worm on this hook. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to see if I can catch another. Well, the pole did just fine. It felt very sturdy. Oh no, I got it hung on something that's not good, because you can't just break this line, dadgummit. Well, I can catch a stick. It's a stick fish. Well, I'm glad I didn't have to leave this or break it. That would be so disappointing if you spent part of a day making you a fishing line out of natural materials and then end up having to cut the line or lose it. That would be so devastating in a situation where you're really hungry and needing something. Let's see how many other fish are hungry this morning. If I thought about it, I should have brought something to keep the fish and then cook them, but honestly I just didn't want to get into cooking fish today. Maybe another day when it's not so hot. Alright, let's go again. one. Wow, look at that. Look at that one. That's actually really nice. Should wear a glove, I guess. I'm a country girl. I don't need a glove. Unless it's a catfish. I hate those. Oh man. Look how big that one is. That would be some good eating there. Look at the size of that. Look at that. That would be a nice little nugget. Couple of nuggets. But still, even on this size fish, it's not a great giant mouth. Now, I don't even think that that first wooden hook that I made, I don't even think that would have caught in here. There's just not a place to catch it. And I don't even think that barb hook or gouge hook would have fit in here either. It wouldn't have caught. Anyway, it's just got to have a sharper point than what I was making. I'm going to keep working on that, but for now, I'm satisfied with this pole. I'm just going to keep fishing for a while. This is fun. Hey, I'm going to try those army worms I was telling you about. But I'm going to try one of them on here. Look at them. Ooh. I don't like them. But we're going to see if they're good for this purpose. They look like they wouldn't be tasty, so fish may not be even at all interested in them. You know, I hadn't even thought about it. I wonder if they bite. I don't think they do. Ugh. Okay. It may smell like coffee being in that coffee can. Fish may not like that. Okay, let's try it. Boy, howdy. Got another one that's this time kind of small. Oh, it fell off. Oh no, where'd you go? Alright, let's see if I can find it and get it back in the water. So I guess they do like army worms, but I can tell you one thing about the army worms is it looks like it doesn't like water and it gets kind of soggy fast. Man, I don't want to be down in this. Get ready up. Oh snap, I'm glad I didn't step here. That's a hole. I think it actually... Actually, it did. It made it back down to the water. That thing knew a shortcut. Okay, man. I'm so glad I have not stepped there. Got a butterfly looking up wet. And I got a fish. Oh no. One of those. Now these, I knew these were in. Oh, look how I caught it. Caught it by its gill, not by its mouth. They got big mouths. They might would have eaten some of the other, or you could have caught them on some of those bigger hooks, maybe. But I'm not interested in these guys at all. They're super slimy. Look, butterfly, I appreciate the love, but that tickles. They've got these, things just trying to poke me with its fins. Another reason I don't like them. I guess you could eat it. This is not the ones that I was thinking. Most of them have a yellow bottom and they're kind of gross. This looks like a, I don't know, I guess you call them a mud cat. I'm not for sure. This looks like a regular catfish though. Well, they seem to like that army worm. I'm going to put another one on. Dang it, got that same kind of fish. I don't like them. I guess I'd eat it if I was hungry. Except this one's more like a little fingerling. a little bit too small to do anything with. I'm just going to keep fishing for a while because I'm enjoying this. Yay, got a fish. It's a small one. I could get some tiny pieces off of that to eat, maybe. It's pretty little though. Hey, I would probably grill the whole thing. I will when the weather's not so hot. I'll just plan to come down here and catch some of these fish, and as if I'm in a survival situation, and try to cook them up. There's another little one. I'm just gonna stay over here. I think you saw how little it was. All good things must come to an end at some point, so I'll go ahead and put this one away. I didn't really accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish. I didn't come up with a good enough hook made by me. I know that you can make a hook out of, and I thought I was going to do that today, but I'm not going to do it, out of a soda tab. I've seen online where you can fashion that, but you've got to have something that's strong enough to, I mean, obviously at home I can use wire snips to cut this and make a hook out of it. Now if you're out without gear, you're going to have a hard time unless you have a sharp rock and maybe another rock to pound through it. But I was going to do that today and I didn't. I might say that for another video. I may never do it, who knows. But I did not work out the hook problem. I'm still going to work on that at some point. I've got a lot of things going on now that I just can't do a whole lot of videos, but my poles, that's what I'm excited about. Both of these poles, the one with the thicker line and the thinner line, both work well. I guess if you have thicker line, you could potentially bring in bigger fish maybe. I would still like to try this, both of them, in an area where I know that the fish that I catch are going to be larger, you know, more like 8-9 inches long, 10 inches. So if I can come up with a place to go where I know that's possible, I will take these poles and do that. I may have to go, I just don't know a good place. I may have to go to a state park maybe and fish off the bank or something, just to test the strength of the poles. That's the point, the strength of the pole and the line. Now for this, they worked just great. I didn't feel at any point that they were going to snap or give me any trouble, so that's a win. They're rugged enough for that. Really just need to try it on bigger fish. The worms, I found that I can use a different kind of worm if I need to, if I couldn't find earthworms, and I'm sure there may, I mean, I could use crickets, I know. I don't know what other bugs. I mean, obviously a mosquito would be too small to put on a hook. But I mean, oh yeah, I just saw a dragonfly. I mean, I guess you could catch a dragonfly and pull the wings off and use the body as a bait. Maybe that's another video in the making there. What kind of baits you could find out in the wild, what you could use in place of, if you couldn't find earthworms. That was a lot of fun. And I don't know the final count on the fish. I will go back to the video and count that up and put that here, because I'm probably going to edit out some of that anyway. Alright, I got to get to the house. I'm hungry and I know Dottie's probably waiting on some food. So we'll go ahead and close out this video, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is giving you maybe a little spark, a little desire to go out and try to learn things to, you know, just for your betterment, just to have on hand, knowledge to have on hand in case, you know, crap hits the fan and you're hungry and you need to do something about it. Y'all get outside. The weather's been, I know, hot down here in the south, but get outside. The sun will do you some good. Being out in the nature will do you some good. Just get out and enjoy what God has given us. I mean, it's wonderful to be outside. All right, we'll see you later. Y'all stay wild.